Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Hold the Ball. Hope you guys are well. Thank you again for tuning in. If you're new, definitely hit to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff there. Look, guys, expansion, right? And surprisingly, it's not about PNG or another Australian team. It's actually about New Zealand. This subject here I hold very dear to me. I love expansion, and Anyway, before we get into it, DJ, hit that intro. Alright guys, so first of all, there's been some news, I'm not sure if you've heard, that's been circulating around the rugby league sphere that has been talking about the New Zealand actually getting another team. So in other words, not just the Warriors, but actually another team. Now, long story short, on Instagram I follow one of the NRL, one team that's actually wanting a team in New Zealand based in Christchurch, but at the same time as well, there was another entry as well yesterday, with another bid to have an NRL team in Christchurch. So what happened was, long story short, I thought the South Island Kia, basically is what it's called, this team here, I thought that had something to do with the initial bid we heard, before Las Vegas, and it wasn't. So this bid here with the South Island Kia, this team, to do with the second New Zealand team, actually has nothing at all to do with the original bidders. So as unfortunately as the old cliche goes in rugby league, it wouldn't be rugby league without any drama, and this is true again, unfortunately. So this is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I just want to put in my 2 cents. First of all, I back the original bidders. So HTB backs, I am with the side that had the original bid. My understanding is that side there has spoke to American investors. They've actually got some, or in the project of creating some sort of pipeline, to junior rugby league over in the southern, in Christchurch in particular, but in the South Island, and they've actually been talking, or will be talking, to Peter V'landys and Andrew Abdo. So in other words, they are, they're mixing. So I back them. Okay. The other investor, the other bidder, the one we all saw that hit the mainstream, right, Sydney Morning Herald and Fox Sport and stuff like that, that's a completely different bidder. And they run by a guy called Mr. Moffat. You have Mr. Moffat and Mr. Kidd. Mr. Kidd is the first bidder. Mr. Moffat is the second. So Mr. Moffat has come in, and he is actually bringing in the South Island Kia, and he's apparently got some big backing, and he's been talking to NRL. Now, this is a messy situation because obviously two different bidders, and apparently both have spoken or will be speaking to the NRL. It doesn't make sense, especially since both sides want to build a team in Christchurch. It does not make sense. So my resolution is both teams hear it out, discuss, and then work towards the same goal in mind. In my opinion, though, bid number 1 should be at the forefront leading the charge. Right? It just makes more sense. There was some non-disclosure as well, apparently, that Mr. Moffat did not sign or did not adhere to, I'm not too sure, which has upset bid number 1, if that makes sense. So bid number 1 has reached out to Mr. Moffat. Tony Kidd has reached out to Mr. Moffat, and despite being professional about it and admiring the competition, Mr. Kidd has said that they're still going to go ahead and pursue their way, whilst Mr. Moffat pursues his way. As I said before, it doesn't make sense to me. I think both parties need to come to an agreement of some sort to sort it out, to talk about it, because whether you like it or not, it's just ugly for the game. And if you're going to be building a team in New Zealand, the last thing you need is its roots to be planted, in mess, chaos, destruction, if you will. Big words, but nonetheless, I think it rings true. All right. Now, my thought on the overall expansion of a team in New Zealand, it's good, okay? But the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, and especially you, like me, Warriors fans, it's actually not a good thing for the Warriors. Okay? Now, you may sit there and be like, yeah, it is, because players will be able to stay in New Zealand. That's not the point, actually, because those players now have the option of either Warriors or the other team, right, in Christchurch. Before, it was just the Warriors. Obviously, Warriors and the big fish, right, in the big pond called Australia with all their teams. Now it's going to be New Zealand in a big fish in a small pond, now joined with another big fish in a small pond. But I think this pond here is actually growing, just between you and I. But you get what I mean. Then there's the changing of the name, right? New Zealand Warriors cannot simply be New Zealand Warriors anymore once this other team comes in. It just does not make sense. It's nonsensical. Geographically, all that does not make sense. So once the other team comes in, you're going to revert to either the Auckland Warriors, the Northland Warriors, or the Warriors, but we're not going to be doing that. So either one of those teams, right? So as beautiful as this is, because obviously I think the depth in NRL rugby league for both countries, Australia, New Zealand, even England, you can throw that in, even Pacifica. I think it's decent enough to actually, be able to fork another team. And you can imagine overseas players from Australia coming in, trying to have a crack at the NRL in Christchurch. There's so much beautiful and endless possibilities with this, and I think that's good. So I'm not against it, and I never will be. I want to enjoy the rivalry, right? The banter. I want to enjoy the optics of having this Southland, this new team as well. Obviously, travel and who's going to be better of them or the Warriors. That stuff. That's and yeah, and I think the Northland versus Southland, North Island versus South Island rivalry, that alone is a pitch for the NRL. That's just mega bucks, man. You're sitting on money that's to be made, whether you like it or not. Rugby league is a business, and that's a big business move, or in other words, standing on business. Now, quickly as well, before I go, those are my thoughts on everything there. I hope that mess is tied up, and I hope it's done away with, so that we can actually just focus on the bigger thing, actually getting a team in South Island. Rugby league, NRL in the South Island, very important. Now, just quickly before I go, obviously if that is going to be the 18th team, it leaves 2 more teams. Where am I going with them? WA, South Australia, end of story. I am going to be putting a video on why I believe WA and SA need to be the next 2 teams, and I want to give you guys my opinion on why I'm strongly against Papua New Guinea. Now, my understanding is the only reason why Papua New Guinea will ever have a team constructed is because the politics behind it, right? And that's to do with China and things like that. And I don't want to say too much in case the algorithm, monetizes this video. So I'm going to leave that out. But you get what I mean. There's a lot of politics. And then apparently, even so, the NRL are saying that, well, not the NRL, but the people that be regarding the PNG team, actually saying that the team might be based in Cairns. So if it's based in Cairns, it's not even a PNG team. It's just the 5th Queensland team, which I think is actually the actual bid, in my opinion anyway. It has nothing at all to do with PNG. I think Queensland just want a 5th team. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that's just the way it goes. But I'm saying that, though, if you want to expand, you've got to bring in WA. You've got to bring in SA, all right? In my opinion, to make it truly national. You've got to look at the western states, so to speak. Central states, South Australia, WA, New Zealand, perfect. Anyway, I'll give you guys a video on my thoughts there, but I thought I'd give you guys my thoughts on what's happening, give you guys a lowdown. So yeah, there's more to this that's going to unfold, but the reality is you'd be hoping, much like me, that everything settles and this is sorted quickly, because yeah, it can't keep going. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Take it easy. See you guys next time.